Hi, I'm Gaurav Bhayati. Welcome to the Procol podcast. Procol is a procurement technology company. Today we have Brish Bhan, Head of Strategic Sourcing Asia Pacific for Uber. Welcome, Brish.
Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks for hosting me.
Looking forward to having this conversation with you. Our audience would be delighted to learn more about your background. If you could introduce yourself.
So, I have been in the sourcing and procurement domain for almost 20 years now. I have worked with companies like American Express, Accenture, Genpact, British Telecom, and in my current role, I am with Uber for the last 7 years. If I talk about the type of roles I have done in sourcing, always feel proud to say that I never repeated the role that I've done in the previous company. I started with, selling the procurement solution, then got into operations, which was mainly, doing the sourcing events for, the private limited companies in India and PSUs in India. Then got into procurement operations with Genpact and then did some solutioning with them for some global customers. After that, spent around 3.5 years with American Express, wherein they had a captive center in India. So it was like building the capability and running those. Then I've done consulting with Accenture also for a lot of global customers for around 3 odd years. Then did procurement transformation for British Telecom globally from India. And for last 7.5 years, I've been with Uber. Started, my job with setting up, the procurement / sourcing practice for Asia Pacific. And to start with, I would say India, then grew that role up to APAC. And if I talk about my, current role in Uber, I lead the strategic sourcing function for Asia Pacific. I run global buying center out of India. Again, global as the word says, we cater to every single country that Uber has. And then I look at, the new capabilities that we should have in the procurement domain. So I'm the sourcing point of contact for any new initiative that Uber wants to run.
Wow, I did not know that you have sold procurement solutions before.
I did.
So you've been on the other side of the table. Across the journey, you must have gotten various challenging assignments. What has been your most challenging assignment so far?
So as I said, I never repeated my role. So one of the reason why I've been doing that, because I keep searching for challenges. Some challenges would come, I would say, normally or actually, which the company setup would bring. Apart from that, I keep searching for it. I won't go back and talk about, the initial challenges. Let me talk about Uber, which I see as, one company wherein I think I've sorted a lot of challenges or I've seen a lot of challenges, right? So when I joined Uber around 7.5 years back, there was no procurement. In fact, there was no procurement department, if I say globally. There were just a couple of people who were working on high value deals and all, right? So when I was brought in, the procurement was being done by, every single employee in the organization, and it was not through, I would say, tool also, right? We were deploying Coupa at that time. So people were buying, using the corporates because we were in a high growth business. It was like just get the material or get the service which is required to run. So when I was brought in, I still remember, within the first hour of my joining, I was asked to negotiate a deal with one of, the furniture manufacturer, global manufacturer. I was told, we've been buying from them, now we are building a new office. Can you talk to this supplier? And when I asked a very basic question, which any procurement person would ask, can you give me the requirement? No, we don't know what a requirement is like. They are telling us that you need so much furniture, so I think it's okay. I said, no, that's not how it works. But anyway, it went off pretty well, using some procurement language, using previous skills, that thing worked for me. But I would say in last 7 years, what I've seen is that, company has been on growth path always. The people that we work with, right, it was like taking work from them, which they were doing and convincing them, right? And a lot of them were freshers or, I would say first time into a corporate world, right? So for them, it was like, someone is taking away their job, right? Which was not the case. So the challenges started from that. And then, when procurement or sourcing got a reputation across, I would say, the country, the demand started coming from other APAC countries also. Can we also kind of, engage sourcing team for this? And I was the only one. The moment I started talking about, okay, can I grow my team? It was not an easy, which I'm sure a lot of you will agree, right? Getting a headcount is not easy, so you have to show the business case. Fortunately, I would say leaders were good. They kind of agreed that, okay, let's start expanding the team. So I started looking at APAC, and every country had its own challenges because company has different operating models across, I would say, all the countries, and we have a lot of language dependency also in a couple of markets like Japan or even Taiwan and all, right? So challenges kept coming over the period of time when we were kind of solving things and we were becoming more popular. COVID hit, and that was the time I actually had to lose a couple of folks from my team. And the demand was coming from business, can you go and help us in bringing business back to normal by doing certain things, right? So it always has been challenging. I think from that day till today, I think I always keep looking for challenges, and now the team has also grown significantly. Came as came as the first person to lead the sourcing for India. Today I have a team of around 30 plus people. We are catering global, and I think this is a message to my team also. Don't settle. Go and find where is the problem area, whether it is procurement related, non-procurement. We should not care. Let's find a problem area and try to solve it, thinking slightly strategically, slightly operationally. So I think that's how I would say the journey has been.
Happy to see that it keeps you going more so. I think more procurement professionals are built that way. Excellent procurement. I've seen this common across great procurement leaders. The challenges keep growing and their excitement keeps growing. What are the biggest problems you're looking to solve in 2024?
Some problems are, you know, given by the management to solve, some you have to find, right? And I would talk about the top three problems that I would say more or less we have kind of identified after looking at a lot of surveys or customer experience. It's not that customer is coming and saying why you have this, right? But we do hear that sentiment that comes along with the appreciation that, okay, what was that element of expectation that they had, right? Considering those things, so a couple of things that we are planning to solve in 24. One, so we have, our stakeholders coming to us through multiple channels today, right? They can give a phone call, they can send an email, they can, ping on Slack, or the opportunity can come in the form of a requisition by the time, things would have been negotiated by someone in the business, right? So we want to solve those channels, right? So we want to create a front door in 2024, which is backed by, I would say, AI, so that the customer experience is great. We want every single person across the globe to land there, put their request, and then the system should help them, directing or triaging their request to the right place. For example, if there is a sourcing opportunity, it should come to me. If there is already a catalog set, it should direct them, okay, here is a catalog, go and buy, and you have all the rights to buy. If it's just a legal work, it should direct them to legal rather than, bringing it to sourcing and then sourcing telling, oh, there is no opportunity for us, work with legal and solve that. Second, we have seen a lot of success in the supplier performance management program in a couple of countries where we are running. There also, I would say, we actually initially thought that let's run a supplier relationship management program, which everyone talks about. But at the end of the day, if there is no commercial benefit coming, if the stakeholders or your internal customers are not telling you that they really saw a commercial value coming out of that, for me, it doesn't work, right? So that's where I think the team aligned, okay, let's change the program from SRM to SPM, Supplier Performance Management. Let's get some money out of it. So we want to expand that because it has really worked for us. In fact, up to a level that we are now looking at a couple of sales agreements also, wherein the BD and sales team have told us, can you find efficiencies or can you look at the deals that we have done? And very happily, we actually could find money from the sales agreement also. Guys, you are losing money there.
How do you improve this program, or what is this program like?
So as I said, I think for business, if you show them the money, that is what they need, right? Apart from that, compliance and all, definitely everyone values, but sometimes it doesn't come over and above, I would say, the money for the business. Compliance is generally for, taxation team says, okay, we should be compliant. Compliance team would say we should be compliant. But for a salesperson or someone whose job is to grow the revenue, for them money matters, right? So that is the approach that we took. So when we started looking at, these sales agreement, focus was forget about, whatever is written in terms of, the clauses. Let's figure out things like what are the KPIs agreed and is there a penalty associated with that? Was there any money given as a security deposit? And when we started looking at that, because that was our thought, we actually were very much on the target. We figured out, oh, there is a money which has been given for one of the sales deal as a security deposit. And we went to accounts payable team. Do you know if that money was recovered? We could not find the trace of that, right? So we kind of went to the BD team. Here is some money which is lying with someone. Can you go and get it, right? Similarly, what are the KPIs and SLAs? Because here we are the service providers, and I'm sure you will agree, service provider is generally under that pressure that I should not go back and tell the seller that you are not fulfilling your requirement, because they might tell us that I don't want to work with you, or I'll find someone else because you are pointing fingers at me. We actually took that, charge. We said, okay, let's find out where the buyer of the service is not meeting the targets, right? Or the KPIs, SLAs. So that's what we showed, and it actually worked for us.
So you mentioned the front door and supplier performance program. Looking back for 2023, what do you think has improved this year?
So we launched Global Buying Center last year in Q4, and that was only for APAC. And APAC, we actually have great relationship with the stakeholders because we all are based here. We have been working with them for last 7 years. That was one of the biggest challenge that we had. Okay, now we are going global, I would say story goes, I would say to a couple of years back, wherein this solution was supposed to be given by a third party to us. And I had to challenge that internally, saying, can I run this internally at maybe 1/5 of the cost which we are getting externally? And every SLA, every KPI, every savings number which has been committed, I'll meet that, right? So it was, I would say, a challenge on me and my team here. How do we build and how do we deliver this? And everyone initially thought that Global Buying Center will work like assisted buying, wherein people will be tagged to a category manager and they will do RFPs, they will do emails, but final decision will come from someone else. We actually changed that. From day one, we were very much clear that we don't want to create an assisted buying center. We created a team here which was looking at spend which was non-strategic and non-tail, right? So the middle layer, approximately $350 odd million. So that actually has been working very, very well for us. So this is one major thing that I would say, when I look back, has really worked for us, and the focus definitely will remain. How do we kind of take charge of unmanaged spend, maybe under strategic sourcing as a part of this team.
Brish, when should a company consider adopting a digital procurement and sourcing technology?
Interesting. So if I had to answer this question maybe 20 years back, I would have said maybe start planning, maybe when you have enough data in hand that your process is not efficient, and if you have enough money, your IT department is ready to kind of invest and evaluate. It will take 2 to 3 years to deploy that. So that would have been my answer, I would say 20 years back. Today, I would say forget about the size of the company, mid-size company, they should adopt the technology today. Reason, there's so many solutions available in the market, and you are one of the solution, and I'm sure your solution, just like every other solution, would be a SaaS based, which means no investment required, pay as you go. You can deploy in maybe days to weeks. You can go at a module level rather than buying the full suite. So, the ease of adopting a solution is so much today that companies should adopt it today. Just like companies adopt accounting system, why not a procurement system, right? Because accounting can give you an understanding of what you are spending, right? In terms of voucher values and all, right? But where is the intelligence coming out of that? Someone still has to sit and figure out, is there efficiency that I can create? Now that will only come from the procurement systems only. So they should adopt it as soon as possible. And it's affordable, that's what I would say.
What is the first problem do you think the company faces without technology, and what it solves after technology?
If I specifically talk about procurement, visibility to the spend that you are doing, that's the biggest problem. You might say that, I am a good negotiator, I know my category, we buy X items every year, my purchase pattern is same, you can negotiate, but till the time you don't have visibility to the data, how will you kind of justify that you are actually doing a great work, right? You can talk about quality, but it has to be quantified. So that's where I think technology will surely help, or has been helping always, right? Giving that visibility to the data.
You know, a lot of young people watching this would be interested to learn more about some insights you could give them on how you grew as a leader. What would be your 2 or 3 biggest advices for the young procurement professionals entering the procurement domain?
So I would say for any procurement professional or any person, right? Invest in yourself. That is very much required, right? And when we talk about investment, if I talk specifically about procurement, I'll give examples, right, which I keep giving always. A doctor will always have a PhD degree slash MBBS degree slash BDS degree. Engineer will always have a BTech or a BE. Procurement, is there a specific degree written? Answer is no, right? I mean, there are institutes who do it now specifically for supply chain or logistics, but they are not many, and not many people still turn up. So one need to invest in themselves, and they should acquire some certification. They should acquire some knowledge through, global universities in this domain. That's one. Second, people should look at the 360-degree view of their job. I have seen people who are only focusing upon, how much spend they are managing. I know hundreds of such people, great on category, great on negotiations, very poor on P2P systems. How is it possible that you don't know your, downstream process or even upstream process? Many people, they don't even know beyond a certain point what their company does, how operation planning happen, right? Broadly, they know, okay, my company has, this line of business, but I don't know how do they do it, right? So one need to look at the 360 degree, right? That's another thing I would say. Go beyond the numbers, upskill yourself. No harm in going in a downstream process or going in an upstream process for some time, learning it. Companies do have programs wherein they say, okay, we can have shadowing program, you can spend a few weeks there. It doesn't work, honestly. One has to invest a quality time in learning those. That's the second advice I will give. And third, I would say keep your ears and eyes open, and again, uh, go to the forums, talk in forums, listen to the forums, talk to the experts. That's how it works. During interviews, whenever I've asked, people, how do you kind of make sure that you know the subject, right, or investing yourself? Most of the people end up talking about, LinkedIn. I won't say it's wrong, right? But why that's the only application which people talk about? You're not doing anything beyond that, right? Learn the subject. That's what I would say.
Thank you for coming over today, Brish. It's been lovely chatting, and I hope the audience listening to this podcast find it inspiring as much as I did. Thank you for watching Procurement Podcast by Procol. Stay tuned for more. Visit procol.io to look after Procol's upcoming procurement technologies and solutions.